I'm no mechanic, but I'd like to just share a little experience, strength, and hope with you people. I have a 2005 Suzuki Boulevard C50. I bought it new in 2005, and now it's July 2014, and I have 58,000 miles on it. I've had very little problems with it so far, knock on wood there. Like I say, I'm no mechanic, so if you don't like what I say, go with what the book says. But I do have a good, really good mechanical advisor. He could probably take this bike apart and put it back together, blindfolded in a snowstorm, going uphill both ways. I'm going to start with, okay, it's all stock except for three little things, okay? I put this seat on. This is a Granucci seat. I've had it 8 or 9 years. And if I'm by myself, it's really nice. I can take the curves. It's really low to the ground. I love it. I just love it. It took me about a couple of weeks to, either I broke in the seat or my butt broke in. I don't know which, but I like it. However, if I'm riding two up, then I really don't want the girl to have to ride more than 5 or 10 miles. So I still have the stock seat, and I put that on if we're going to do a day trip or something like that. And that is a really comfortable seat also. I got this little cigarette lighter that I put on. This is like I said, it's all stock except a couple of things that I did here. This is the second thing I did. It takes about a half a minute, and that pops up because somebody that I love dearly used to smoke, but by the grace of God, she stopped smoking. And now I guess you could use this lighter to charge your cell phone or something if you really wanted to. There it is. Works good. Kind of simple. If I can do it, you can do it. Now these pipes. I want to tell you something about these pipes. They are neighbor friendly. Okay, I can come home in the middle of the night, and I've never had a complaint in 9 years. You know, the people, my neighbors don't mind. They're nice and quiet, you know. So I leave them on. 2.5 years ago, they were blowing black smoke. So what I did is I put a little bit of gum out. You read the bottle, put the gum out in the tank, and then I filled the tank. By the way, I use a gasoline with an additive. Usually I like a gasoline that's got Techron in it. It runs really well for 9 years that way. I took it out on the highway about 90 miles an hour for about 5 miles, and I haven't had any smoke come out of the pipe since. So that's been working well for 2.5 years. Recently I had a backfire to this. Now this could be important to somebody watching this, okay? It was a backfire when you let off on the gas. If you're going, you know, kind of fast, you let off on the gas, it would backfire. And if I downshifted at a high rate of speed, it would backfire. Pow! I'm talking big backfires, okay? This started around maybe 55,000 miles. Got a new air filter. That was the first thing I did. Tried different gasolines. Then I was reading the manual one day for the third time, and it said if your spark plugs are white when you take them out, then go with a harder plug. And I'll show you over here. You can see these plugs were white. Okay, so here's what I did. I went from the original plug DPR7EA to DPR8EA. That's the harder plug, the 8. That's what I needed to do, and it almost has eliminated the backfiring. Okay, I did it 3 weeks ago today, and I've had maybe 4 backfires. Before, I'd have a backfire every 10 minutes, so it really helped. Now my mechanical advisor, he says the harder plug will eliminate most of it, you know, and some of it, but it'll never get rid of it completely. but he says you can spend an awful lot of money on it, but if I was you, I'd just learn to live with it. So you know what? I got this cool little backfire to it. That's what I say now. I got a cool little backfire, and it's not common. It isn't as loud as it was, and like I say, it only backfired 4 times in the last 3 weeks. Now, the next thing I did, I just did this recently because my floorboards, the rubber wore out. So what I did is I went to a store and I bought a 12-inch by 12-inch piece of rubber, and then I had this sanding disc on my grinding wheel, and I grinded down the rest of the meat on the rubber. I took it off. It only takes a few minutes to take these floorboards off, and then there's 3 bolts on the bottom. You take the rubber out. I took some liquid nails and pressed it together, let it sit for 24 hours, and then I grinded it smooth around, and I like the way it came out. They want $60 each at the dealer for new rubber, just the rubber for those, and I did both of them for 10 bucks. This rubber cover for the brake pedal, that's the 3rd one, because the first 2 fell off, so I finally smartened up and I put some double-sided tape on that. Been on there for 4 or 5 years. It's doing good. Now I have gone through, I'm on the 3rd set of front brake pads, and on the back I'm on the 2nd set of brake shoes. Now you can see I have it up on a ramp here. They want $125 at the dealer to change the oil in this thing, and if I can do it, you can do it. Like I say, I'm not a mechanic, but this is how I do it. I just drive it up on this little block, and then I put 2x4s together for the kickstand, set it up there, and the oil pan fits right nicely under there, and I just change it. I'll show you a little filter wrench that goes right on the ratchet here, and it's pretty simple if I can do it. Anyway, here's what I use is a Fram filter. That's the filter I use. Works for the S50 too. I have this block here that I created. That's for if I want to just check the oil when it's on level ground. I just put that under the kickstand and check the oil. Now over here there's a plastic chrome cover, and underneath there is a little bottle that's a reservoir for the coolant, and it's hard for me to get my hands under to drain this thing to you know, take the hoses off. For me it's a pain in the neck, but if you don't like what I'm saying, go with what the book says. But what I do is I take that little bottle off inside. There's 1 or 2 bolts. I dump it out, dispose of it properly, and then I fill it up. I fill up that reservoir again with clean half water and half antifreeze. It takes about 4 to 8 ounces probably, and I do that every 6 months, before the summer and before the winter. Down here in Florida we can ride this all year round most of the time, so you Yankees, I don't think you can do that unless you put a ski on the front and a snow tire on the back. Maybe you could do it, but I also bought this little heel shifter rubber because after 58,000 miles, the sucker was all ripped up, wore out. That was about $6. That brake pedal cover was $7. The toe shifter, it's flat on the bottom from shifting. I just took and twisted it so I can get another 50,000 miles out of that piece. And now I just like to ride, you know. Like I say, I'm not a mechanic. I just like to ride. And now I'm going to show you the mileage, and I'll show you the exhaust, that it's not smoking, and that'll be about it. Let me put my helmet on. You know, I can't pray for wisdom every day and not wear a helmet. 58,109.